Welcome to Your Bookkeeping Matters. I'm Lisa Turner, bringing you short and snackable weekly episodes on bookkeeping and business matters in an easy to understand way so you can be in control and confident that you know your bookkeeping matters. Let's dive into this week's episode. Hello friends, and welcome to a super exciting episode for you and for me, because this is episode 50, which many podcasts never reach that amount of shows. If you're a bit of a statistics lover, some stats from last year, 2022, there were 4 million podcast shows, of which only 155,000 odd have more than 10 episodes, with at least one of those 10 being released in the past 10 days back then. Pretty staggering, hey? So to have reached 50 episodes myself, also meaning a year in the podcast world for me because I release episodes weekly. I have had a few weeks off here and there, but I am so grateful to have the opportunity and space to do the show, and that you are coming along for the ride and listening to me bang on about numbers, business, and financing matters. I love giving these to you in a super short and snackable format, easy to understand at the same time, because I want you to learn all you can about your business and bookkeeping matters so you can grow and reach every single one of your goals. Which brings me to today's topic of metrics, measuring those goals. Which metrics matter, driving you to sustainable success? Now, we all know there are literally loads of metrics for vanity, traditional, more realistic ones, and those close to you and your values as a person and a business. The ones you want to meet to make your business a sustainable success, because you don't want to hit all these high revenue and profit goals if it's taking you away from the things you love, like your family, your own time, balance. You want the success you reach to be sustainable, meaning you can keep going at what you're doing without reaching burnout or ending up losing the passion for what you're doing. So diving through the myriad of metrics, how do you then know which ones matter to you? It's easy, because there's no right or wrong answer here. Only what helps you reach your goals and make it sustainable for you. Don't follow some rigid framework and try and squish yourself in a box, or try to meet the same goals or numbers as someone else. Let's take a look at a few key metrics and take from this the ones that matter to you. Number 1, and this one should always matter to you, profit. Many business owners happily share and boast their revenue figures, which is the top level sales or income. But sadly, most of them don't know their profit, or they don't track it as closely as they do their sales. By profit, I mean the money left over after all of your expenses come out. Did you make money? Did you break even? Or worse, lose money? In the early days of starting up your business, you might be strategically running at a loss, setting up the business, systems, websites, or further down the track, expansions, those kind of things. It's planned, it's strategic, and that's okay. Generally though, you want to be running profitably. Else why are you doing it? You don't want $1 million in sales to have $999,000 in expenses with little to no money left over to pay yourself for all your hard work, reaching that million. Profit is the metric you want to measure here to make sure the business is sustainable. If you want to earn money, you can't keep going forever running at a loss. It's that simple. Profitability is the foundation for a stable and sustainable business, supporting it to keep going and growing. I have loads of episodes on the show already around profit strategies, simple steps to increase profit, and most importantly, pricing for profit. So the next metric you want to measure is your pricing strategy, because the right pricing strategy for you directly influences the financial health, and yep, you guessed it, the sustainability of your business. Getting your pricing right not only sets up how much revenue you generate, but can also heavily impact on your customers or your potential clients' perception of you and your business. So what they think of you and if they'll buy from you. A well-positioned price point helps show your value and what your customers can expect from you. So by strategically setting your pricing, it can actually be a tool to help you manage demand as well. By keeping an eye on things, different pricing can be optimized, as in increased or decreased, to generate more or less sales, depending on what you're trying to achieve. The main thing to remember when doing your pricing, so you can use it as a metric to measure, is to remember to factor in all your costs. Do a deep dive and make sure they're all included so that you can make sure your sell price covers these costs and leaves enough room for your profit and growth. You need to regularly review your pricing as well. It's not a set and forget thing ever, which is why a pricing strategy is a metric that matters. Make sure your pricing is profitable and you can measure it. I find some businesses can't drill down on the different products or services to see which ones are, or sometimes aren't, making a profit. So while it's an important metric, you need to be able to measure it. So keep this in mind so your business is sustainable. You might be looking at a profit figure overall, but there might be a certain area of the business that's running at a loss and another area is covering that up. So it's important that you know by products and services which ones are being profitable. Now, a fun topic I love is diversifying. And this is where you can look at different income streams for your business. You might be able to create a related or aligned digital product, course, or download. So once you've created it, it's there for an additional income stream into your business. You have retail products. Does it make sense to go into wholesale? Or you create items for one market or industry. Can you use what you already have set up to apply it to another similar industry or service? This helps grow your business and keep it sustainable because once it's there, or if you're leaning on systems you already have, most times it won't require too much more input from you or a team member pulling on the lever driving sustainable success. You're still supporting and helping people, but in a different way or a new area. How is diversifying a metric which matters? Well, it's technically not a metric, but it is something you can measure and manage to help support your sustainable success. We're talking sustainability here in terms of keeping the business going. So if you can diversify your income streams and they're making you additional revenue that you wouldn't otherwise get, which is a win for me, and it helps you reach those profit goals. Efficiency and productivity are next on my list to share with you of important metrics to measure. You want to be efficient, make the best use of your time and resources and money at the same time being productive, getting things done without procrastinating, wasting effort, and maximizing your output, getting the best results, and driving the sustainable success you're chasing. What can you do to track or measure this metric? Well, you can review your processes and business operations and look for efficiency improvements. You can look at the resources you're using. Can you utilize them better? This is your time, your materials, things along those lines. By doing this, you'll also be reviewing and improving your productivity, hopefully giving you either improved profitability or more time to generate more income, maybe even both. So measure and track this. Is everything you have being utilized to the best of its ability? If not, can you improve it or get rid of it? So many options when it comes to measuring this. Don't have systems in place for the sake of it that are slowing you down. Streamline all of the things. Tiny hint, next week's episode is a good one for this. If you're being efficient and productive, you're getting your goods and services out to your wonderful clients, making them happy clients, driving your sustainable success forward. You can tell I'm moving a little out of the financial metrics now because while they're important, they're not all important, and other metrics matter more when you're looking for that sustainable growth and business goals. A huge part of this for me and so many other business owners is a work-life balance. You absolutely need to have some firm boundaries in place here to create and protect this balance. I'm sure you've heard the saying or seen the memes, I quit my job for better balance, and now I've started my own business, I work 24/7. It's a super tricky one. You do need to put in the hard yards in the early days or at key times, but it's about finding the balance which will work for you and what fits in with your values. You can't work 24/7 forever. You can't sustain it. To drive your sustainable success, what boundaries do you need? Does it look like no work on Fridays and Saturdays? Does it look like no work after 3 p.m. every day? Or does it look like no work before 11 in the morning every day? Like everything in your business, it's different for everyone. And if you have employees, what do you have in place to provide those same boundaries for them so they don't feel any pressure to work long hours? You want to prevent burnout for everyone. You want everyone in the team to succeed and be happy in a balanced working environment. Staying on the topic of teams, your employees are your biggest and most important asset. I truly believe this. And on the last of my list of which metrics matter, today is employee retention. You need to protect your assets and look after them. Because if you have a high turnover of staff, you're constantly training new people and it will be harder to get ahead. So for your employees as your assets, what does this look like? Regularly checking in with them, making sure they have a positive work environment and they're supported in their learning and work style. This will look different for each employee because as people, we're all different and unique. And this needs to be embraced so much more than it is in a lot of workplaces. I don't mean you need to have different processes and options of how things are done for everyone, but a more diverse way of teaching and showing and how they can do their job best. Some of your employees might prefer manuals to follow. Others might like to be shown by you. And others might need to do it themselves and take their own notes. Do they work better late in the day? So a later starting time for them if client face-to-face work isn't a key factor. Your employees are down in the details doing the work. So let them be involved in reviews and decisions where you can. They often have the best insights. Engage them in your business so they feel connected and know exactly how important they are to you. This is a pretty easy metric to measure. If your staff are hanging around, chances are they're happy. But don't rest easy there because they might be staying because it's easy or they haven't found their next perfect job yet. Ask them, check in regularly, and if you're keeping on top of it, you'll generally have a good gut feeling how things are going and how they're feeling about their job. There is literally so much you can do here. We haven't even touched on making sure they're paid well and reward systems, crystal clear job goals and reviews. It's such a huge topic and certainly not my area of expertise to go on about too much more, but to run a sustainable business, it's high on my list of which metrics matter. And it's the last one we're looking at today. You might be wondering why I chose this topic as my celebratory episode 50 and the podcast celebrating being a year old, which was last month technically. Well, the reason is because I map out my episodes well in advance and I plan the topics, and it felt right to do this one as a non-technical bookkeeping episode, more a look into what I think is important to measure in your business to be sustainable now the podcast has been going for a year. Because I do this show to help you learn and grow, and you need to do it in a way you can continue on and not reach burnout. And with being in business myself for coming on 8 years, I think it is, and going through a new phase of somewhat learning and growing this podcast, it seemed the right time to share some of my learnings on these with you. Because I see bandied about far too often the insane sales figures, but no mention of profit. Or no talking about if they have any time for themselves or if they're happy. So while, yes, there is loads of metrics for your figures and success and how that looks for everyone, there are other important things to measure and keep on top of to keep your business humming along perfectly and sustainably for you. If you would like to dive into this a little more, I have a blog, Metrics That Matter, What a Successful Business Really Looks Like. You will enjoy that. Again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for popping me in your ears each week. I'm humbled that you take the time out of your day to listen to me, and I'm grateful for you helping me reach these milestones. So if you haven't already left a review, please do. It would mean the world and helps more business owners like you learn their bookkeeping matters too. I will catch you next week when we look at simplifying some things for you.